Cyclops was right. X-Men to me. Hello and welcome to a Smurd P video, and today we are looking at the Age versus X companion. And if you didn't know, that's Avengers versus X-Men. So at the top we've got Hope and Scarlet Witch, and down here you got a mixture of Avengers and X-Men. So it comes in this nice box, which is a limited edition print, and you get a digital combo with it. Don't know what that means. The box is irrelevant to me because I'm not going to keep it in that. It serves no purpose on my shelf, but it is a nice addition for you to get that. I think it's quite cool, and it protects the book as well in transit. So pretty much this collects all the other issues that were associated with the Avengers versus X-Men event. So there's quite a large section of it, 29 to 33 of Avengers Academy, Secret Avengers 26 to 28, Avengers 25 to 30, New Avengers 24 to 30, X-Men Legacy 266 to 270, Wolverine and the X-Men 9 to 16 and 18, Uncanny X-Men 11 and 20, and Avengers versus X-Men Consequences 1 to 5, and A-Babies versus X-Babies 1. Okay, so one thing that I was worried about in transition, that the book inside the box is going to get damaged, but in fact they've compacted out really nicely at the top and at the bottom so that it is in the middle and is protected. So for that, even more thankful. Because usually when we get omnibuses, they come in just like an Amazon box. There's no other protection around it, and there is a risk of it getting damaged. So to get this extra layer is thoughtful, a costly thought, but it is, you know, I'm thankful for it. Okay, so I bet you're kind of wondering, why have I brought a release from 2011 now and not back then? To be honest with you, the companion to me was a bit overrated, if that makes sense. So I had all the X-Men issues at the time in various X-Men books, Uncanny, etc. So, and I wasn't really actually interested in reading the Avengers side either. So I didn't get it, to be fair. And the price for it was like 85 quid. You know, I remember going in Forbidden Planet and seeing there, and I thought, whew, that's a lot of money, and I didn't think it was worth it. And then recently, you know, I rebought the hardback of Avengers versus X-Men, and I was just casually just looking around really, and I came across this, and it was a decent price. And I watched a couple of videos, as you do on YouTube. I do watch other people's videos as well, and I always appreciate other people's views. And I thought, wow, that's actually got quite a bit. It is an omnibus. It's not just a companion, it's a whole omnibus. There is loads of material in this book. So looking at the book, you've got the cover from same as the box. Then you've got the nice usual side. You can see how big it is. Oh, well, I hope you can see how big it is. I'll do some comparisons before the end of the show against some omnibus. And then we've got this little bit about all the other action, etc. Because it was a massive event back in 2012. And as much as a lot of X-Men fans, including myself, dislike the story, I mean, I liked it. It was different, but I always felt like the Phoenix. There's always a thing around the Phoenix that I feel, don't overuse it, and they have done it a couple of times where I thought, yeah, and it just ends up in Dark Phoenix mode. I wanted something different, so it's quite cool. And under the cover, it's quite interesting. They've just got flames, which is pretty cool. And obviously the Phoenix there, sorry, it's not just flames, it's the Phoenix. Basically the whole Phoenix there. So that's quite interesting, quite cool. And then you've got the whole synthesis here. It talks about all the various books and what are in them. Which is called A versus X Consequence. So I really love that kind of after story. That really was a little story about Cyclops that I really did enjoy. And it's about all the different creators in the book. And then you've got the whole details of who the writers are, etc., for all the various stories. There we go. Okay, so I'll just give you a few little snippets from a couple of the books. So here is the New Avengers. Here is a scene from X-Men Legacy. So you got Frenzy there. I do dig Frenzy in the Legacy series. She was pretty cool. And Rogue and Miss Marvel together again was quite interesting. One thing that I'd say is that they're not kind of in chronological order. They do their whole story and then it moves on to the next section, for example. So X-Men Legacy, it's all together. That's what I'm seeing so far. If I get through it and I see something different, I'll obviously say. Here's a snippet from Secret Avengers. And there's Captain America. I'm actually reading Secret Avengers. I'm probably about 7 issues in, and I've got to say I'm really enjoying it. It was one that I didn't pick up the time. I think I finished New Avengers, and I thought, you know, it just started spiraling out of control, and I really liked that New Avengers run. I just didn't want to read any more Avengers. As funny as it sounded, it felt like, hey, that awesome team was just taken away, so to speak. And then you got the Avengers series. It's pretty cool. And do you know what I always like about the other stories? It's good that I haven't read most of these Avengers, because I'm kind of excited to read how the different characters have their own little story that is within this big event. I sometimes actually almost like them a bit more. So remember Civil War from 2006? That Frontline series was the best series out of all of it. And, you know, like the Spider-Man series, you know, there was lots of side events or issues that were not, the event was brilliant, but, you know, they just had more depth to them, if that makes sense. So this was the Uncanny X-Men issues, and in this, Mr. Sinister has his own kind of soldier clones, etc., and he ends up going to war, if I remember correctly, with the Phoenix 5. And I think he still gets the kind of upper hand, so it's really quite interesting. So I'm looking forward to reading that one again. That's one I haven't read for a very long time. There we go. There's Mr. Sinister and the Phoenix 5. I think they're stuck at that point. I could be wrong. Like I said, I'm looking forward to reading it again. And you know what? I think I may be wrong, because I've just come back onto Avengers Academy again, and now I've just gone on to X-Men Legacy. So maybe there is a bit more chronological this to the story, and I'm pretty sure, yeah. So it is like they're keeping in time with how their events go. So I'm just going to kind of run through it a little bit so you can kind of see. So this was Wolverine and the X-Men. It's a pretty cool scene. I love stuff like this. Obviously, you know, I also mainly love character development, etc. So yeah, so you can see we're going back to Avengers now. So sorry, I was wrong. It does appear to be going in some sort of chronological order throughout the story, and I prefer that better, to be honest with you. Hey, I love this date night. I recently read Wolverine and the X-Men again, the whole series, so it's quite cool to read this again. One thing I was always annoyed about that omnibus, obviously I'm digressing, was the fact that they did add all of these crossover issues in there, but when it came to the Battle of the Atom crossover, that was missing. So just a little bit of a bugbear, nothing major. So, and we must be coming towards the end, I think. There we go. If you didn't know, hey, that's awesome. Professor Xavier cops it in this series. I think he may be back. I think Astonishing X-Men, they brought him back. I need to read that run. And this is what I was saying. So I love this whole X-Men Consequences run. I really dislike Captain America throughout this whole series. Bugs the hell out of me. Just thought I'll throw that out there. So it just kind of wraps up the story and what happens afterwards. And basically that leads into Scott Summers Revolution series, Uncanny X-Men series 3. It's pretty cool. I did enjoy that run. And we got some X-Babies going on here. It just looks like fun, really. There we have it. At the end, you got some pictures, some cover art, and that really is about it. Okay, so here the omnibus is next to the Avengers versus X-Men, and then Schism. I'm doing that very carefully because the last take I dropped it all and it was embarrassing. And so very nice. The Schism obviously leads into Wolverine and the X-Men and the Uncanny X-Men Extinctions team, which ultimately leads into Avengers vs. X-Men, and then obviously the companion. And there they are together from the front. So very, very awesome. And if I've counted correctly, there's about 40 issues in this book. So that is a whoop loads of issues collected in here. And here it is next to the whooping X-Men Avengers Onslaught Omnibus. So you can really get grips of, you know, obviously that's was a bigger event as well. But it's still a whooping size, this I'm going to call it an omnibus, because to me it is an omnibus. So I don't think anyone's ever going to call this a classic event, one to remember, etc. But it is nice to get the full majority of the side comments. You get all the side material from this companion all rolled into one. And if you've got the Avengers vs. X-Men hardcover to go with it, you know, you've got a whole series there. And, you know, it's beautiful to have such a lovely book on your shelf. But I would only get it if you're really interested in the Avengers and the X-Men, or both, or you just, you know, you want to see how each kind of side's view, I guess. But ultimately, it's like Marmite. You're either going to get it or you're not going to get it. And to be honest with you, I didn't get it originally because I thought I don't need it in my collection. And then I changed my mind and thought, hey, actually that'd be quite cool to have in my collection, you know, to go alongside my hardcover for the Avengers vs. X-Men. So hopefully me going through this has helped you decide if you're going to get it or you're not going to get it, or whether it's a hit and miss, or just whether you want to complain about what Cyclops did in this event, like most people do, who truly don't understand what he was trying to do. No offense if you're a Cyclops hater, I'm a Cyclops lover. Thank you for watching. Embrace the geekiness. Like, comment, subscribe. Follow my page on Facebook, SmurredP. Thank you for watching. Take care. Goodbye.